Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 1 of Let's Talk Animals. Now, this first episode is going to be on the panda. Now, I need to fix this up. Hang on. Nope, let me go this way. There we go. So there is a few things that I do need to fix up in terms of the way things look. I am sort of adjusting things at the moment as I go. So welcome on in. I am so excited to bring you this new series. It is going, I don't know exactly how often it's going to be happening. I'm going to try and do it at least once a week, possibly 2, depending on how things go. But I am so grateful to many people for this. First and foremost, I need to thank the absolutely wonderful Jumanji, or James. He is the one who has made the thumbnails once again for me for this series. And I am so grateful for him for doing everything that he has done to help me with basically getting everything up and running. He is an awesome dude, and he is actually the reason why we are doing the panda first, because he absolutely loves pandas, and I thought it's only fitting for us to do the panda first because of how much he has supported me. So I want to preference this by saying I'm not an expert. I do work, like, animals is what I love to talk about, love to do stuff around animals, but there is a lot that I need to learn as well. And so if I do happen to say something that isn't quite right, I am in the process of learning things as well. So just let me know. I'll keep looking, and I will go into figuring out if what I have said is right or wrong and things like that. So please just be aware that I'll be doing a lot of different species. A lot of them I will be doing some research for in the process to leading up to doing these. So there is room for error. I do make sure that I check with a few different sources before I actually confirm information, or to confirm the information, but it is not something that is what I say is exactly right. Just want to say that straight up. But yes, I am grateful to everyone who has submitted species for me to talk about and to learn about and to go over with you guys. So if there are species that you want me to include in this series, if you are doing here as a part of the live stream, just pop it in the chat. Oh, I'm a bit blurry there. Pop it in the chat, and I will write it down, and it's better. So pop it in the chat, or if you're watching this after the fact, write it down in the comment section below, and I will add it to my list of things to talk about. So without any further ado, let's get started talking about the panda. So let me just do, there we are. Alright, the panda, also known as the giant panda. Its scientific name, I'm probably going to get this wrong, Ailuropoda melanoluca. It's a bit of a confusing one there. It's a little bit hard to pronounce some of these scientific names. But yeah, I will do my best with all of this. So the panda is probably most commonly known as a bamboo eater. But more than that, they are actually what we know as an omnivore. An omnivore is an animal that eats both plants as well as meat, and I'll get onto that a little bit more later on. They are found in the mountainous regions of central China. They're pretty limited to where they like to be, and so that is where they live in a certain height range in the mountainous regions of central China. They have an average lifespan of around 20 years. So yeah, they do live for quite a while, but not the longest living species out there. They can grow to around 4 to 5 feet long, which is roughly about 1.2 to 1.5 meters. So they've got a decent height to them. I definitely would not want to come up against one because they are quite scary size-wise. And they can get up to 300 pounds, which is around 100 to 150 kilos. So pretty solid animals, very, very solid animals. As I mentioned, they do mostly eat bamboo, but around 1% of their diet is other plants. But they also, as I mentioned, being an omnivore, eat meat as well. And they will occasionally hunt for things like rodents and sometimes fish as well. So, yeah, a little bit different there. Within a 24-hour period, every single day, they can eat up to 28 pounds of bamboo, which is around 12 to 13 kilos. So whilst I am going through this information, if you are in the chat or if you are viewing, show me those lurker eyes or comment. If you do have any questions during these streams, I should have mentioned this at the start, pop those questions down. If you are interested and you want to learn more, let me know. I will quickly jump on. If I don't know the answers, I will look up some information as well. So I am all good to learn as I go, as I'm sure you all are as well. Now, the panda's hand structure or front paw structure is a bit of an interesting one. They have a special bone that extends from their wrist, which is called a pseudo-thumb. And this is what they use to hold on to and manipulate those bamboo shoots. So it gives them that ability to grasp onto the bamboo to bring it closer to them, rather than just having to use an open palm type of thing to do that. Now, the panda doesn't look... Hey Bobby, welcome on in. How are you doing today? Now, as I was saying, the panda, it looks like a pretty bulky sort of species, very large, and it's got a bit of extra padding to it. We'll just pop it that way. Now, they are quite good at climbing, surprisingly enough. They are good at climbing trees, and even more is that they are very good swimmers. So they're quite good at swimming. But if anyone has seen the videos of pandas in zoos, they are definitely not a graceful animal. Stephen, welcome on in. I have gone over a few little things. I will quickly go back over some of them for you so you can catch up quickly. Giant panda, scientific name Leopard melanoluca. Challenging one to say there. They're an omnivore. They live for around 20 years on average. They can grow to 4 to 5 feet, 1.2 to 1.5 meters. They can weigh up to 300 pounds, which is around 100 to 150 kilos. And being an omnivore means that they eat both plants and meat. So the majority of their diet is bamboo. But about 1% of their diet includes other plants, as well as meat like rodents and sometimes fish as well. They have a special bone that comes out of their wrist called a pseudo-thumb, which they use to grasp onto their food. And they live in the mountainous regions of China. So that's a quick little catch up for you there. Now, as this is episode 1, there's a lot of things I do need to work out in terms of structuring. I did have sort of a lot of things I've just sort of thrown together, and I've got my list here that I'm going through. But hopefully in the next episode I will have come up with a better structure on how to do this, so it makes a little bit more sense. Oh, what was that? I heard something. Bobby! Bobby, my man. Oh, you are too kind, Bobby. Thank you so much. I appreciate that so much. Need to turn my notifications off on this. Alright. Now, the Panda. Oh my goodness, all my notifications all come at once. There we go. So, sorry about that one. The pandas, they are a very fairly solitary animal, which means they do prefer to live on their own and not so much in a group or a herd. So there is one time of the year where they will actually gather together, and that is during the springtime for some panda loving. So the breeding season is springtime for the pandas. And as I mentioned earlier, if you do have any questions or want to know anything else or me to go into more details, let me know. And I will see what I can do there. Ask in the chat or in the comment section down below after the video is finished. Now, in terms of pandas, as I said, they're solitary, they live on their own, but in order to find each other, they have a very, very good sense of smell. So, pandas, using their, obviously have an odor that they will give off, but their sense of smell will enable them to know when other male, or if a male finds another male panda, so that they can stay away from each other. But it also helps them to find a female. And I've just noticed something that I need to change that. Sorry, I'm a little bit of a... I like to make sure I can see everything when it comes to that. So yeah, they've got a really good sense of smell, and that's how they can know to stay away from other males, or they know exactly where those females are to make their way to them for some panda loving times. Now, pandas are quite interesting in the fact that, they have, when it comes to breeding, a lot of animals will have just the standard shape. Pandas actually have an S-shaped genitalia, we'll call it that way, trying to keep it PG-ish. And that helps them in order to be successful with their breeding. Now, female pandas, they have a gestation period, or that means basically is a period of when they are pregnant, for about 5 months. That's all it is. And after which they will give birth to 1 or 2 cubs. Now, let me just take a moment to go to this here. So the pandas, when they are born, they are very, very small. They are around 5 ounces, which is around 150 grams, and you can see there the size compared to the mother. Now, they are born completely white in colour, and their colour pattern changes later on in their development stage. Now, if my mouse would work, there it is. Oh my goodness, this is going interesting. Now, as I mentioned, the female pandas after about 5 months will give birth to around 1 to 2 cubs. Now, the biggest problem that they have with this is the fact that the mothers can only look after 1 baby. So the majority of the time, if they do have twins, the second one will not survive. It is really unfortunate, especially for the species, but in order to keep the mother happy and safe, they unfortunately have to, they focus their energies on the 1 baby. If the second one does manage to survive, it's great, but yeah, it is a lot of effort on the mother, and yeah, that's one thing that goes against them having more than 1 baby at a time. Now, are there any questions in the comments at this moment? Anyone got anything to mention or that they were wanting to ask about the pandas? If not, we shall continue with a little bit more information. Now, the pandas, they have, when they're full adults, they don't really have much in the way of predators. But as they're younger, they really do have a bit of an issue because there are a few predators out there that will try and take on some pandas for food. And they are the jackals, snow leopards, and the yellow-throated marten. Now that's the species that I didn't really know much about, is the yellow-throated marten. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to quickly try and get an image for you, just because I think they are absolutely adorable. They're very, very cute. They're in the same family as the weasel family and the ferret family. So they're very, very cute, and give me a second and I will quickly pop up an image of that right there. So you can have a look and see the yellow-throated marten. Should pop up in just a second. There it is there. So, as you can see, they're very, very curious looking animals. Very, very, very cute. But I will quickly pop back to our panda here. So, yeah, the yellow-throated marten, very, very cool, very, very cute species. And I just lost my train of thought. So, yeah, as they're quite young, they do have a few issues with predation from those species that I did mention, the snow leopard, the jackals, and the yellow-throated marten. But the good thing is that they are pretty secure when they become adults. Now, I'm sort of just having a bit of a look through some information here. Now, because my information is sort of half there. And as I said, I'm still learning a lot about this. I don't know how long these streams are going to be, but I am giving it a go, something a little bit different, and looking up some information, trying to keep my knowledge going, especially in the times that we are doing at the moment. But yeah, these times gives me something to do. Yeah, gives me something to do, keep my mind going, and enables me to bring some information to you. That is interesting. I didn't know that. I've just looked up what Stephen has just popped there. And that is very interesting. A group of pandas is called an embarrassment. That is, but they're also called a cupboard of pandas or a bamboo of pandas. So there are a few other names. But yes, I do find that very, very interesting and very, very different. Now, there are quite a lot of pandas in captivity, helping with a breeding program, but there are also a lot of them out in the wild surviving themselves, which is quite good. And I need to get back to my list here. Oop, things are going funny. I've gone pixelated. Hang on a second, I need to see if it is just on my end. Oop, looks like things are going back. Okay. Now, the panda species as a whole is listed as a vulnerable species. So they're not quite to the endangered sort of well, they're on the endangered list, but they're not most vulnerable type of things. They are just they are classified as a vulnerable species. And the really good thing about the pandas, this panda species, is that their population is actually going up. It means that as time goes on, there are looking like there's going to be more pandas out there. So really good at the moment, but there is still a lot happening with them. We still need to be careful and make sure we don't lose them altogether. Excuse me. Now, guys out there in the chat, do you have any other knowledge that you are interested in about the pandas? I'm just having a quick look. So, as I said, I am sort of doing a bit of looking up just to try to see if there's any other information out there. And I've just come across something a bit interesting about their reproduction. Adult females become fertile just once a year for less than 2 days. So it means that the window of opportunity for a panda to be successful is just 2 days. And that is possibly why they are struggling so much, is because for every 365 days a year, a panda can get pregnant 2 days out of that. And the time during which they are pregnant is during spring. So there's quite a range of days that they could potentially become, or they can be successful with breeding. But there's only 2 days that can happen, which is very, very, makes it hard to sort of be successful with breeding. A lot of the information that comes from research on pandas is research that has been done during pandas, during a captive situation like a zoo or a sanctuary to things like that. So it is sort of a little bit harder to get information about the wild ones, obviously, because of their location and that they are vulnerable. So they do have a lot of information from that of captive populations of pandas. Alright, so as I mentioned, I don't know how long these streams are going to be going on. They're possibly going to be shorter than my other streams that I do have on. But it will also refer to the different species, how much knowledge I have, as well as the interest that people are showing in the comment section. If people are commenting, chatting, wanting to know more information, then obviously the streams are going to be going on a bit longer. But if I get through the information that I have, there isn't a lot more that people are wanting to know about them, then they might be a little bit of a shorter episode. And it could also possibly get to the stage where I do the animal streams 1 day a week, but possibly if there's a stream possibly like this one here, which is going to be less than half an hour sort of thing, I might do a second species as well at some stage, but it will just depend on how long things are going to go. But yes, I've got lots of things to work out with this series. Low Key, welcome on in. How are you doing today? So, I have gone through quite a lot of my information. Low Key, I'll quickly do a quick recap about certain aspects of the panda for you, and for anyone else out there who may want to just get some of the information again. What species of penguins do you want to know about first? Low-key, instead of focusing on penguins as a whole, or species as a whole, I will be more focusing on individual species, individuals, groups within the species. So, do you want to know about emperor penguins, fairy penguins, Adelie, whatever? You pop down a specific species, and I will add it to my list, and it will get done at some point. So pandas are omnivores. They live for around 20 years on average, about 4 to 5 feet, which is about 1.2 to 1.5 meters. Can weigh up to 300 pounds, about 100 to 150 kilos. They primarily eat bamboo. I try, Bobby. I try. 1% of a panda's diet is other plants, but they also hunt. Being an omnivore, they hunt for things like rodents and fish. They can eat up to 28 pounds, which is 12 to 13 kilos of bamboo a day. Emperor penguin, no worries, I will add that one to the list. And I do have quite a few species on the list, so I will be passing that on to James, who has been doing the thumbnails for me, when I get a chance. Let me just make a note. Penguin. Alright, it's on the list. Pandas have a special bone coming out of the wrist, which is like a pseudo thumb, which they use to help grab on to their bamboo to bring it to them. They live in the mountainous regions of China. Even though they are a little bit clumsy and not very graceful, they are very skilled at climbing, and they're good at swimming as well. How long are they in adults? Very good question. So give me one quick moment. Ooh, if I can spell. So, pandas will reach sexual maturity, which is what in the animal kingdom when they reach adulthood, at around anywhere between 5 and 7 years of age. So that is when they become active, and that is where they are going to. That is where they start breeding, and yeah, that's when they reach adulthood there. Yes, they love to roll in. I've seen many videos, and I'm sure you guys have as well, where pandas will just they'll fall off something and then they'll just start rolling around. I've seen other videos where they absolutely love playing in the snow as well. I suppose they've got lots of fur and padding to keep them nice and safe there. Pandas are a solitary animal. They love to live on their own. They've got a very good sense of smell, which allows males to know where other males are to stay away from, as well as letting males know where the females are during the breeding time of breeding season of spring. The females are pregnant for have a gestation period of about 5 months. They give birth to 1 to 2 babies. They are primarily designed to only look after one, so most of the time the second baby will not survive. The babies, they are born around 5 ounces, which is around 140 grams. They are born completely blind. Well, that's the amount of time. Well, so the breeding season is these months of spring. But each year, a female panda, has 2 days in which they can actually become successful with the breeding. And that is it. Once those 2 days are up, they have to wait until the following year to try again. So even though there is a specific season, like the spring season, that they can become pregnant, but yeah, it's only two 2 days a year that they can become successful. Oh, right, yes, sorry, I get what you mean there, yes. So on average they live for around 20, so some live for longer, some live for less, but 20 is the average. So yeah, life expectancy of a panda is around 15 to 20 years. As with a lot of species, captive animals do live a lot longer than those in the wild because they do get a lot of extra needs to look after them. In terms of, like, they don't have to watch for predators. The food comes to them; they don't have to find it. They don't have to worry about things in the wild. So in some facilities, they can live up to 30 years of age, with the oldest on record being 38 years old. So on average in the wild is 15 to 20 years. In captivity can go up to 30, with the oldest records being 38 years old, which is pretty good. Almost doubling their life expectancy there. The main predators for a panda, again, being an adult panda, they don't really have a lot out there in terms of predators. But as youngsters, and before they reach full size, they can be predated upon by the jackals, the snow leopards, and the yellow-throated martens. And as mentioned, they are listed as vulnerable, but as a population, as a species, their population is going up, which is always a good sign when a species is going up in population. Now, is there any particular questions that you may have at this present moment? Sorry, just fixing up some things here. All right. So, I think something's just popped up. Hang on. Why are pandas black and white? Well, they're actually born white. Let me just have a quick look because there's not a lot sort of known as to that. I'll have a quick look. But yes, when they are first born, they are white, and they do develop the color pattern later in their development. So one of the things that animals like to do is like to be able to hide away. And where pandas live, they do get quite a bit of snow. So according to what I'm looking at now, their coloration does help with hiding from predators in both the snow times as well as when there's not snow around in the shadows. Striking color. It has been, like, it does say that it is hard for people to know exactly why. Oop. And my stream has gone pixelated again. Apologies for that, I'm not sure exactly why that is. As I said, Bobby, I'm not sure why that is the case. I do appreciate all the love and support, but I'm not 100% sure why that is the case. But yeah, in terms of the coloration of the pandas, it has been a difficult thing for scientists to understand. They do believe it's possibly to hide from their predators. Like, their white coloration is to hide during the snow times, and their black is to hide in the shadows a little bit as well. So that possibly is like the main reason. But there is a lot of things to go out there to try and figure that out. Interesting. So there is a lot of information out there and a lot of studies. I'm just sort of reading through a bit of one of them now. So I'm just doing a bit more reading here. So pandas, they, as I mentioned, they eat bamboo. There's not a lot of nutritional value in bamboo, so they can't actually store enough fat to go into a hibernation. Pandas are active all year around, from snowy times to the rest of them. So they say that in order for a panda to sort of blend in a little bit more, they don't have, because they are in such a dynamic environment, so sometimes there's like snow around, so the white will blend in a lot more. But when there's no snow, obviously white's not going to blend in at all. So by counterbalancing that black and white coloration pattern, it helps them to blend into their background, into more of a diverse background style than that. Now, they do say that the black markings around the panda's eyes are more to help with communication to other pandas. And they say that the pandas can help, like that black eye can help them send sort of messages to other pandas, can help to express aggression and things like that to other ones out there. So lots of different things there, and it's possibly something I will go into and do a bit more research and possibly do a follow-up in the next episode. So that's another thing I've been thinking, maybe in the start of the next episode I will touch on a few things that I've gone through and done a bit more research from the previous episode, in order to bring people a bit more up to date. Mythical, how are you? Welcome on into the stream today. Oh yeah. Are there any other panda related questions out there today? Excuse me. There we are. So one of the things I did learn from this as well, that Stephen helped by getting me to look up, was a group of pandas is actually called an embarrassment of pandas. They're also known as a cupboard of pandas, and also known as a bamboo of pandas as well. So some very interesting names there when it comes to the pandas. If there are no other questions, I might wrap up the stream here, purely for the fact that I'm not actually just rambling on, because no one wants to see someone ramble on for no reason. So that's another thing that it could be, and a lot of other species do this as well. The dark eyes help to reduce glare. It acts like a natural pair of sunglasses. So yes, that would be another reason why they have the dark rings, but also to help show some of their expression to potential other pandas out there. So once again, I do appreciate everyone that has been involved and asked questions. If you are watching this episode after the fact, type down in the comment section below any questions you may have from this, and I'll get back to you on those ones. If you do have any other specific species, so don't just, as I was saying to Loki earlier, don't just say like penguins, say specific species. So Loki wants me to do an episode on the emperor penguin. I might bring other individuals within the species to light in those episodes, but I'm more looking for specific species to work on for these. So if you type down in the comments below what species you would like me to do an episode on, I will add it onto the list and we will get to it at some point. Otherwise, yeah, once again, major props to my man Jumanji for doing the thumbnails for this series. He is an absolutely awesome dude. He's gone above and beyond for me in order to make sure that I can do this and get you guys this information, which I love to do so much. And yes, Bobby, James is bae. So much so that I am going to find him and we are going to drop his link down here. So if you're wondering who I'm talking about, James or Jumanji, go to that link. It will take you to his channel. He does a lot of Pokemon stuff. He also does some other things as well. He's got stuff happening, and we also have something in the making. So sub to James. He is awesome, and he has done so much to help me. So other than that, thank you all again for being here. All good, Bobby. I appreciate that, but it was sort of a last minute thing. Now, what I am going to do is we are going to go and find someone. There we go. So,
Honey could save you hundreds of dollars this year and thousands of.
So what we are going to do, we are going to go on a little bit of a raid. So we're going to go something a little bit different. So what we're going to do for this raid, we are going to go with a hashtag Smithy Let's Talk Animals raid. And we are going to go over and we're going to raid the man himself. If I can get this. We're going to go over and raid Papa Agron, who is live with some three houses action there. So head on over. Yeah, it's a bit of a longer raid, but it's a little bit different sort of streams to my other ones. So head on over, type in the hashtag Smithy Let's Talk Animal raid, and I shall see you over there. Thank you again for being a part of this stream. Comment in the chat, make a comment in the comment section below if you want to see other species, and we'll see you next time. See ya.